is to show you how to use the Riso graph action in Photoshop. There's two images that we've used so far in lesson. We've got the collage that you've cut out, and we've also got your collection of joiners that you might want to use this on. So initially, if you want to open up your collage images, what we'll need to do is open up the actions pane. So under window at the top of your screen in Photoshop, if you're down to actions, and then on the top right hand corner on this little down arrow, if you click load actions, and the action you need is called Riso, and it's in the student area under Mr. Hegarty in Photoshop, and it's called Riso. If you click load, you can see you've got a little folder over here now called Riso, and there's only one action in here. Now if you click on the down arrow, it actually tells you what the action does. So we're setting the foreground colour, we're adjusting the curves, we're adding the halftone filter from the filter gallery, and the size of the dots and the contrast are 2. It then adjusts the hue and saturation and set the current layer style to multiply. So if I select initially my telephone box and click on the play icon, that will set that action, and there we go, action complete. Now you can continue this with all of your layers. Just press play and it'll add the same filter to the other layers. Now what you might want to start thinking about is how the colours change. So rather than having everything pink, you might want to have each of these layers a different colour. So an easy way to do that is just to affect this layer 6, I'm going to go to Image, Adjustments, I'm going to go to Hue and Saturation, and I'm going to change the hue of that layer. So down here you can see when I adjust it, it changes the colour of that layer. So I'm going to go somewhere down here. Okay, so you can repeat that process with every other layer you've got. So Image, Adjustments, Hue and Saturation, and just change the hue of that layer. Now you'll notice that if your layer overlaps with another one, because the layer blending mode is set to multiply, it does affect the other layer. You can still see it. After you've done a few of these, you might decide on adding a little bit more detail. So what I'm going to do is duplicate this layer. So right click and duplicate. And I'm going to change the blending mode, the adjustment layer and the hue and saturation of the second layer. And change that to maybe red. Now with my keyboard, I'm going to just offset that layer. Now, I'm not quite happy with the colour of that, so I'm going to change that hue and saturation again, so it stands out a little bit more. There we go. A yellow works really well with that. So now we've got 2, and you can see just by moving it slightly, you get this sort of 3D effect. So you can continue that, and eventually we'll come up with something that looks like this, which I think looks really good. And you can see here, each layer, all I've done is duplicate them and change the hue and saturation of each of the layers and move them slightly to the left or the right to give this overall effect. Now you can continue with this with our joiners that we've completed recently. So here's a joiner I've got from my folder. Same again. Go to my actions. Now if this ever disappears, you just go to Window and Actions, and this file will pop back up. Click on play, and it will apply that filter to this one layer. Now like we've done previously, we can duplicate this layer and add the same filter, the Riso graph, on that file again. So we've now got 2. With the top one, you might want to adjust it, adjust the hue and saturation, and then just nudge it slightly. You can use your arrow keys on your keyboard, so it's only moving slightly, but it gives a sort of 3D effect, and that will you can repeat that with every single layer. Now you don't have to change every single layer, you could just click and play it and then consider what the adjustment layer would be, what works best for each of your layers from your joiners. Something like that looks great. And then you repeat that whole process the whole way down for each of your layers. Hope that's useful. See you later. Bye.